Hello, everybody. I know it's been quite a while since you've seen this face of mine. I don't know if that's good or bad. Probably good for you, bad for me. Anyway, I look a little bit draggled too. I've got a fresh baby and a 2 year old, so that's been quite the experience, and that's kept me pretty busy. And so that's why there's been not quite so much content lately. We're working on it really. We're trying to get more stuff. There's a lot of stuff in the pipeline. There's just not a whole lot coming out at the moment. But we're working on it. Don't give up on us. There is more content planned. We have a lot of topics that we got from Facebook and Twitter when we asked for your suggestions. We got a lot of really good topics, a lot of good stuff for priests to cover, especially priests right now are especially busy traveling around for summer camps and catechisms, etc. And so these may take a little bit of time to get to fruition, but there's some really, really good topics, and I have some great priests lined up for several of them already. So stay tuned for that. We are not going away anywhere, so please stick with us. Have a little bit of patience. We will continue to create as much content as we can when we can. So I really appreciate you guys having patience with us. And I also wanted to say thank you to all the people who generously donated to the podcast. I think what we're going to do with the largest chunk of the money is we're going to buy some sort of a routing system that the connection will be routed from someone with a better connection. So when we live stream, it will be streamed from a better internet connection rather than ours, because as everyone knows who watches the show, we have a lot of streaming issues, and it's due mainly because I have really terrible internet, because Germany is in the dark ages in terms of internet connectivity, which don't ask me why, but it's the truth. And add on to that fact that I live in the middle of nowhere, and it adds to a not so great viewing experience. So that's probably what we're going to use most of it on. We got very great contributions, and I really want to shout out everyone. If I miss anyone, I apologize. I'm not going to say last names because I imagine people would rather keep that private, but I'll say the individually, and really truly from my heart, I appreciate it. Helping support the show. We try to give you our time, and we appreciate that you help that with your money. And so thank you very much to Landry, who is really one of my favorites. Now he contributed a one-time donation and on Patreon. So thank you so much to Landry, to Annette for her one-time donation, to Patricia from Australia. Thank you so much to you. A very nice big donation to Nicole and Paul. Love you guys. Thanks so much for contributing and for also having been part of the show previously. So I was kind of surprised that people who actually had been part of the show, contributed to the show, to the content, also contributed monetarily. So I think that's pretty cool. I really appreciate it, guys. A huge thank you to Marcel, my bro. Really, really appreciate it. That's going to help out a lot in getting a better connection. So thanks so much for your large donation. To Robert, he's a guy who has a very interesting specific vocation, I suppose, and job, which I really appreciate. Let's see, who else is there on here? To Bridget, thank you very much. And another huge donation from Joseph, another really good friend of mine, and the family that I really, really love from Denver that I've known pretty much my whole life. I really appreciate you guys for that one-time donation, huge donation, which again will help out a lot in giving us the possibility to further, perfect our programming, I suppose. So thank you so much again to Joseph. There are two families, I believe, from Minnesota. Unfortunately, I didn't have that written down because they contributed in a different way. I think both from Minnesota, to both of you. Or no, maybe one was Michigan, one was Minnesota. I hope you guys know who I'm talking about. I really appreciate your donations as well. I don't have your names in front of me, but I do appreciate it. And again, the money that you've sent is going to go into creating more content, which is in the works. We actually have 4 or 5 scripts already written for different shows. People looking at young saints, someone looking at how to be a teacher, a good Catholic teacher, not even from a parental perspective, but just purely as a teacher, which I think is really fantastic. A young lady. And I'm really excited to see that. We have one, I think, in the works about Bishop Gerard Delorier. Some really good stuff coming. But again, thank you for your patience as they get worked out. So back to now my Patreon subscribers. These are the people who really get the job done and helping us literally live stream. I mean, the people on the Patreon primarily support the streaming service and Podbean, and YouTube as well. I also have a paid YouTube account. So these things, the Patreon members are really making everything run. You're making the restream. That's the service for streaming. Podbean is what goes out to the podcast channels, and then of course the YouTube channel, which is the primary one, which we're kind of working towards getting off, or we're heading towards Rumble. We have people trying to support us to get a cloud database system and just kind of get things a little more streamlined. I am not a tech guy, so it's very slow. But thanks very much to people who've been there from the beginning, Austin and Matthew. You guys are huge, seriously. The show would not be where it is right now if it weren't for your support, truly. So thank you guys so much for being here the long way. Also, Isaac and Alexa, you guys have been huge. I mean, truly, also been here for a long time with us and always commenting and really supporting us, which is, I mean, really, I truly appreciate it. I love the few people who really are part of the family. You guys, I guess you haven't been on shows, but you've been there with your comments, and you've really shown the love, and that it seriously means that's why we do it. I mean, really, your feedback and people who come on and say this podcast has in some way affected them, that's why we continue to do it. Kathy, Brian, JMBE, you guys, again, just consistently pitching in, helping us out. Victoria, Christian, my buddy, Catherine, Jacinta, Laura, Holly, I don't know what you're doing here. Come on, Holly. Also contributing a lot. Appreciate you, Holly. Jesse, Landry again, Christian from over here in Germany, Kimberly, and our biggest supporter at the moment, that is Harold. And Harold, you're a man. I really appreciate you. I follow you also on Twitter. You have a lot of good things to say. One of these guys that I'd actually love to have a conversation with you and talk about your story. I think a successful guy and yeah, helping to bring us as much success as possible. And yeah, I know that most people probably aren't going to watch this video all the way through, which is fine. I understand. Everyone doesn't want to hear me ramble on about supporters and stuff, but I really appreciate it, guys. I mean, we've had a little bit of a setback, as people have probably noticed. We took down the video about Archbishop Sheen for multiple reasons, and one of them was because we decided, with some support from the clergy, that it's not the direction we want to go in. We don't want to start throwing mud at people, even if it's deserved or not. And that's something that I think after we did it, we kind of regretted it a bit. And with some pointing out from a clergy member, we understand it's not the direction we want to head. It's a dangerous direction when you start slinging mud, especially at people and people who can't defend themselves. And so apologies to first of all, to Archbishop Sheen, if we had any content that was unjust or unfair, because I think it's a dangerous road to travel. And I think that we've learned our lesson there, that it's better to be safe and to provide good, positive content rather than slinging mud. And that's something that we really are trying to do now. We took a little bit of a step backwards, but we're trying to step forward now with 2 steps and say, okay, what is the content that will best glorify God? Because that is truly our purpose here, is to, bring God greater glory. And I don't think that is going to be with dark topics or with trying to point out people's faults or issues. So I think just so I know that people have been a little bit curious about what went on there. And so we'll be trying to provide a little more, not necessarily lighthearted content. I'm sure we're still going to be talking about politics. I want to talk about the Second Amendment in the U.S. because I think that's really a vital, important issue right now. Canada is banning pistols right now, handguns. So pretty interesting topic. We're going to talk about stuff like that too, because I think these are important topics to discuss, but we're going to stay a little bit away from the mudslinging, because that's not what we want. That's not what we're here for. We're here to try to bring people together, to try to unify Catholics around the world, and to provide good content that we hope that God and his saints, and perhaps Archbishop Sheen, if he's in heaven, will appreciate and will gain glory from. So I appreciate all of you, seriously, for all of you subscribers, people who comment. I love it. Please, if you ever have anything you want us to talk about, again, we got a lot of stuff on Facebook and Twitter, which is fantastic. So we have ideas for the next year or two. Now we just need contributors who have time. So priests, that's a little hard. So please have patience with us trying to get priests on. They're unimaginably busy, and so trying to get them on is pretty difficult, as you can imagine. But they've been so good in the past in giving us their time and providing such good content that we will continue to do so as long as they can and when they can, honestly. And yeah, so I appreciate it. Email me if you have any questions, if you have any concerns, if you have any comments, Kevin89Davis@gmail.com. I appreciate you all, and God bless. Until next time.